everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. We're your hosts, Dan and Andy. We're on season 5, episode number 19. Tonight's the sports edition. Every Monday we do sports, local, regional, national sports. And tonight we got special guests on hand. Local from, we cover Western Carver County on our show.
Yes.
We got the Watertown-Mayer, Lutheran Royals, assistant coach, TJ Friederichs and his sons, Joel and Titan. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Hi, thank you.
They just come off their state tournament appearance, winning the Section 2 AA, going to state, losing the first match to Becker by 3 points in the team, and then going on to win the next match and then lose that. We'll talk a little individual, we'll talk a little team sport as well. But congratulations on a successful season, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. Andy, do you have any questions to start off with first?
Yeah, just the first couple now. And this is just why Dan's more the high school wrestling expert than I am, so I apologize for my naiveness. When you guys wrestled, of course, you got the whole state tournament going on. You got 8 different matches going on. That's a lot bigger than you're used to. With just 2 or 3 others. How hard is it to concentrate? How do you practice concentrating on one match with all that other stuff going
on? I kind of focus on, we have a routine no matter how much people it's in front of.
Okay.
We just do those routines every time.
You just kind of get zoned in on that one guy and that's it?
Yep. One match at a time.
Yeah, we wrestle a lot in the summer, so it's not quite as big as what we're actually used to wrestling. But yeah, like you said, we have a bunch of routines that we do every time, and we get in the habit of good routines.
Yeah, we're
and Andy, also you're familiar with the Rumble on the Red, I'm sure, the Christmas tournament, those big things and events that are going on, and they're active also in the Greco-Roman other stuff as well, I'm sure.
Freestyle and Greco, yep.
Freestyle, okay. Yeah, it is. Good stuff.
Routine's a big deal in any athletic sport, and especially in wrestling, and it's something you just don't deviate from no matter the size of the stage. You know, you stick to that routine and you don't deviate from that, and that helps you stay zeroed in, and especially in front of big crowds.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm showing the roster here, the team roster from the state tournament there with all the wrestlers on there. So they went down from 14 weights down to 13 this year, and I think you still bring 20 on the roster for the state tournament, right?
Yes.
Still bring 20. There it is. I'm showing it now on the screen, the actual roster along with the win-loss records and the grades. Now, with Titan and Joel, the twins, the sophomore twins here, Joel went to state, placed the last 2 years, 4th last year, got to the finals this year, got 2nd, but was just one match away from 2 years ago getting to the finals. And so, well done there, Joel. Looks like he went 40-2, overall 49-4 this year for Joel. That's what I've got on my stats anyway, wrestling at 114. Well done. Congratulations on a big season there, placing back-to-back years in the state. And then Titan 43-0 coming in, won the state last year, won the state this year back-to-back, was 54-0. Now, Titan, you haven't had a loss in 2 seasons, right?
Yep.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, so it's good stuff. And Andy, I talked to you about, getting these guys in the show. It's the Friederichs, almost, wrestling royalty here in the state of Minnesota. It's very good to have these 2 guys on. Their dad, TJ, 161 career wins yourself.
Yeah.
And then your brother, 4-time state champion. And these guys were from Osseo. And, Ty had 135 career wins, won the state 4 times. TJ 161 wins at Osseo. Now they come to Watertown-Mayer, the Joel and Titan, and are putting up phenomenal numbers. It's very good. How is it, TJ, being an assistant coach with a group like this, with Bryce Burkett and some of these guys, very talented group of wrestlers there?
Well, we've been a part of this program. We moved here when the boys were in 4th grade. So the boys grew up with Meade and the Mead family and Burkett, and I've coached them guys since youth. I've only been on the staff for the high school for 3 years now, and I was doing the youth. I still coach at wrestling schools out here with No Nonsense with Jake Sotzer, and I help him out there. I love it, man. I can't. I wish I could do this for a living. Like I just can't. It's a good time.
We feel the same way about the show.
Yeah. Well, keep going. You might.
Very similar. Very similar. Now, even TJ, your dad was instrumental in bringing wrestling in the state of Iowa. What was it that he did that brought wrestling? Was it freestyle in Iowa?
Well, what he did was, so we moved here I was probably in kindergarten or first grade. We moved from Iowa to here. What he did was he started it here in Minnesota. He started the High Flyers Wrestling Club in 1981 or 82 out of Mound, Minnesota. My brother and I were, the original High Flyers amongst a bunch of other ones. The name comes from the Gagnes.
Yep.
Okay.
So Vern Gagne's house was a couple miles away from the house that I grew up in, Mound. And when my dad was starting this club, we wanted to name it High Flyers, and we went up to Vern's house. No cell phones back then, and just asked them if we could use the name, and they just said as long as we change the spelling, and my dad just added a hyphen, and those guys would come into our room, Jumpin' Jim Brunzel, Greg Gagne. They would give us tickets to back then it was the St. Paul Civic Center to go and watch the AWA.
Oh, yes.
My brother and then a couple other guys were on the TV commercials or on TV to help promote our club on Saturday mornings, AWA stuff, big part of Minnesota wrestling. He was a cadet director one year. He was on a junior coaching staff when I was coming. My brother and I were coming through. He was just really good at coordinating things and bringing people together and delegating. That was just the way he was, man.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about the section? You're in a tough section there for wrestling there in the high school, Section 2 AA with Scott West, St. Peter. What is it like there? It's been a challenge to getting in because you typically can't get past Scott West, and then you pulled off the upset this year. And 2 years ago, the upset. I was at that match 2 years ago with that upset by 1 point or whatever that was. Is unbelievable. I come from a Scott West wrestling family. I grew up in Jordan. My dad started the youth wrestling program in Jordan back in 1977, 78, I believe he started it. So I was the same kind of deal with a few kids there. Your whole life is basically growing up, you're wrestling, so you're big into that. My dad coached many years and then still follows that Scott West team, goes to all those matches. So I find myself cheering for those guys because they're so good year after year. But since I moved out to Waconia, I've really been watching this Watertown-Mayer group with the last few years, and surprised how good these guys are, and the coaching staff too, with McDonald and Becker. Bill McDonald we've had on the show before. He comes from a long history himself, being a stud back in the day. It doesn't look like it now if you look at his physique now. He was a stud. He was a stud back in the day.
He was, before Titan last year, he was the last one to be undefeated in a season.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
We covered that on our show when that record, Titan, when you did that, because that was pretty good. I mean, it's so rare in all the matches. You're not wrestling 30, 40 matches anymore. It's about 50, it seems like now by the time you get up there. And usually even the top wrestlers will have a couple losses sprinkled in there at a various tournament, or you don't have your stuff. But to go undefeated is unreal. So McDonald had that. Yeah. Very good. And then Titan did that.
Well, Titan didn't even give up a takedown this year.
Yeah,
and it's Joel was right there. Joel's only losses were to, like AAA runner or AAA state champ, and then a kid from Wisconsin that won state, and then Joel lost to Austin last year in the semifinals, the guy that beat him this year, in a quadruple overtime. So they're all right there. But
It's-
it's
You know,
been
very
fun.
similar with the team record going into state was 18-8. But if you look at the losses, they're to AAA teams, or they're very close, or they're by 1 point.
Well, this was a difficult season for us specifically because we lost those teams that we lost to. We could have. I mean, a lot of the teams that we wrestled this year that we were defeated by, even earlier by Scott West, we didn't have a full team. We
Yeah,
didn't
you
have
guys
a
have
full
a lot of
team all
injuries
year.
this year.
I mean, we got 5th place at the Christmas tournament with 7 guys. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Especially for a school of 484 kids.
You were starting down a
and
few
we're
points, a lot
competing.
of matches. Yeah.
Yep. Well, we're good off the gate, man. Our first 4 weights are hard to beat, and then we have some younger guys that and filling well the next couple of years. Look to us to be. I think we'll be tougher next year than we were this year.
Oh, yes. I can believe that with the injuries. It's the record, even though it's 18-8, would have been a lot better. But I do like how the schedule, who does the scheduling there for you guys, is good, because you've got some AAA schools in there, in the mix.
Yeah. And it was fun to be in the Christmas tournament this year. We hadn't been in there since I've been here.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, this was the first year.
How'd you guys like that?
It was fun. Probably my
It's pretty
favorite.
fun, huh?
I've
never been down there to watch that, but it's just a spectacle. I mean, it's unbelievable.
You should. You should. I mean, it's arguably tougher in the state tournament,
Yeah.
Because you got the 3 classes together.
Yeah.
It's
and
all combined.
I
Yeah.
wrestled in it, back in the day. So it's a fun tournament.
My dad, he looks forward to that all the time, to head down there, and it's fun. But I just want to mention, to Joel, I'd like to get your thoughts on this, Joel. Titans gets all the attention with the record, the takedowns, the pins, all the stuff. And Joel is a phenomenal wrestler, but like you said, TJ, he gets second place. He's not as the guy in the spotlight, but phenomenal records as far as who's he's going up against at a lighter weight. You got to be cutting weight to get to 114, whereas Titan doesn't have to worry that much.
Yeah, no, I don't. I have to cut a good amount to get there, and it's kind of fun sometimes.
It is. And Titan, you don't have to worry about that, right? You're probably good to go.
Yep, I don't really have to cut weight anyway.
So Joel's got the challenge. You guys are the same age. He's got the challenge of getting the weight down there, and he's going up against these big guys too at the different classes, putting up phenomenal records as well. I mean, in how many wins? Boy, I'm trying to think back here. I don't have the numbers here in front of me, but how many combined wins do you guys have at the varsity level? TJ, do you know that?
I have it right here. They just had their banquets last night.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, I think Titan has 138 wins so far.
And Joel's got to be what?
He's got a career. He's 96.
Okay.
So he's 96 and 13, and Titan is 138 and 3. He lost 3 his 8th grade year.
Okay.
Yeah, but the important question is at practice between the two of you, who gets to win?
Ooh, it's super even at practice.
They're pretty even, and if anybody could have a video camera on them at any competition, it should be in the practice room.
Okay.
Everybody.
I can imagine.
So that's how you learn, I guess, off your own brother. You learn, I think, pretty good off someone like that.
Yeah. They're pretty even. Practice, hard live wrestling will stop for everybody else, and they'll still be watching them.
Okay.
Watch them scrap, because it's like some cartoon cats just going all over the place, man.
A lot of smoke around them and stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Joel, next year you're looking forward to your junior year. You'll hit that 100-win plateau. That's pretty good. That's fun. It's fun to watch these guys. Once again, as a team, as I said earlier, it looks like they went to state, lost by 3 in the opening round to Becker, always tough, then won by 10, and then lost by 24 in that final 5th place match. So they finished 6th place in the state. That's exactly, I think, what they were ranked as far as the final rankings on the guillotine anyway. I think was about 6th. So
Yep.
still a good showing in a very tough state, very tough section to even get up
I
there.
think it's the toughest section in the state, at least in AA.
I think, I agree 100%.
Especially when we had New Prague in there the last 2 years. You know,
Yeah, so
Right,
they
yeah, New
moved
Prague's-
and they went up to AAA and made it to state last year. And then, 2 years ago. And then this year did not. Apple Valley, I think, went out of that region anyway, that section. And they made it. That was one of their losses as well. And they were still a top 10 team, but not as good as the Apple Valley teams of past. But New Prague put together some good last couple of years, really good. St. Peter's always in the mix in your section. Mount West Tonka. Did Jack Nelson? He didn't win the state. He lost, right?
Yep, he lost going for his 4th title.
Oh,
Yeah.
I saw that there was a final point scored at the end as a whistle blew or something. But he's a tough guy in this section.
Yeah, that's tough.
Andy, I think you mentioned this before to me before the show started. But what other sports do you guys do then? Are you baseball, football?
We like to golf.
They golf.
Oh, okay. Golf. So spring. When does the practicing start for that?
I think it starts like next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good time to have. I'm glad you brought him on here, TJ, because this is about the only week they've really got off in a while. I'm sure the wrestling still goes 12 months a year, though. I'm sure, but
Yeah. Well, the freestyle and Greco, like we got their next event is in April, and that's World Team Trials in Las Vegas. They both have made the podium there. They've been World Team Trial All-Americans. It's a fun tournament. This year's a little different because the senior level guys, like the Olympic level guys, they won't be going at the U.S. Nationals this year because of their Olympic year.
okay.
So they have their trial thing down in Texas, I think. But that's one of the reasons why. I grew up wrestling that too. It was just a fun family trip at the same time,
Awesome. Now, after high school, I just saw, Bryce Burkett, commits to Oklahoma. He'll be there in the Big 12 as a suitor next year. What are you guys planning on thinking, or can you talk, or can't you make any statements? But are you getting next year will be the big year for recruiting, I'm sure, right? 11th grade year.
Yeah, they can't really talk to anybody about that stuff until June 15th is
I see.
when
Okay.
of this summer, and June 15th is when they can be contacted by coaches.
Yeah, that will be interesting to watch. I'm sure you as a proud dad too, TJ, with those offers coming in and things like that for D1 programs. It's going to be fun to watch that. It's going to be very busy because they got to stay focused with their schoolwork besides, but it's fun with all the extracurricular that they're involved with. The time must just fly by.
It does. It sure does.
Do you guys want to go to the same college, or do you want to go different colleges?
Oh, great question.
Same college, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, same college would be nice.
Nice.
They'd like to try to be a package deal,
Okay.
Be
Well,
easier.
that's interesting then. Okay, they'll still have the weight, to deal with. It depends on how the bodies develop and mature, I suppose, when you get into into college. It may be maybe a little different, but right now Joel's the one cutting the weight and Titan's not. But it'll be interesting to see how they fill out and develop as far as the muscle and whatnot, what weights they're at. There's only 10 weights at the college level.
I know. Titan's a little bit bigger. Just traditionally has always been about 4 or 5 pounds bigger.
Okay.
But yeah, that's something they got to figure out.
Yeah, it's
who's going to
interesting
eat more.
with the package deal also because a lot of wrestlers, Andy, I think we've talked about this too, is say, hey, I want to go somewhere where I can start right away, or I want to go to a big school, D1, and I don't mind if I ride the bench for a couple of years, even redshirt, and then get some more matches in as I get older. And so we've seen that this year, even with the two from New Prague, with Novak going to Wyoming as a cowboy. Now he's getting tons of matches, almost immediate starter, and you get Coy Biskins at NC State as a backup, and he knew that going in. Got tough people ahead of you. So what is it you're looking for? I know you can't talk, but it would be fun to jump in right away. But to get into a school right away, you have to have those two weights both open, and the likelihood of that right off the bat to jump in and be a starter, unless you beat out the current guys. But boy, the competition's strong. But I was just thinking about that now. Another thing to think about, some guys want to jump in and want to start right away. Some want to ease their way in. But the talent these two have, Andy, it could be interesting because wherever they go, they're probably going to be starting already.
I hope so.
I mean, yes, I know there's Division II wrestling too, but a lot of for other sports like North Dakota State, they're D2 for everything else except wrestling. They're Big 12. Yep. So you kind of have that option. You can go to the smaller school like North Dakota State, but you're still, because of wrestling, you're wrestling Big 12 major competition. So you can kind of get the best of both worlds there too in some schools.
I'm guessing, TJ, these guys will be D1 and they'll be starting. Is what I'm guessing, right?
I'd hope so.
Yeah, that would be the plan because
I'll be happy if they can start and that they get to the point and keep on the same trajectory where they can get their school paid for. That's important.
That's fun stuff.
At least to this family.
Well, now, Andy, do you have any other any questions? I think I've covered the ones that I wanted to talk about on my side.
I guess one question I got is, you got the Greco and the freestyle coming up. This is one sport where there is no professional. You can't go NFL if you played football or NBA for basketball. Of course, Olympics are always everybody's dream. Because age-wise now, you're kind of hitting that right where Olympics could fall in your wheelhouse. Is that a dream, or you want to go to college and be a professional something else and just go from there?
I think the Olympics would be sweet, or be on the world team. I think that'd be sweet.
Yeah, being on the world team and being in the Olympics is definitely a goal of ours.
Yeah, because that's kind of age-wise, you're kind of hitting it that just right. You'll be peaking after college at the Olympics. That'd be kind of cool. Don't forget us little guys. Give me a shirt.
Yeah, right. That's fun because that's really their options, Andy. Like you said, there's no pro. You're not going to go play in like basketball, a European league or the baseball minor leagues. Wrestling has its own animal. So there's things like that you can go into, and they're already involved with these caliber wrestlers already. And they probably don't know a lot of wrestlers at their weight level nationwide. So it's a community. It's a very tight. They're going to end up knowing the others.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks for being on the show. It's a Friederichs family. TJ, Titan, Joel, thanks a lot for being on the show. Thanks for being a good athletes, guys, and great coach there for your dad. And fun stuff.
Yes, you're welcome to stick around, watch the rest of the show.
If you want to stick on or drop off, we're going to go into our normal sports routine now, and we'll go from there. But once again, really appreciate it.
Well, they'll probably take off. I'll probably stick around.
Perfect. All right. Do it. You'll like it.
All right.
Thanks again, gentlemen.
See what it's all about.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Andy. Here's what we've got.
All right. No trivia today.
We have. Here's what I'm going to do. TJ will know some of this. He'll be a good commentator on some of this sports stuff. What I'll do is minimize him in the.
Oh boy, basketball! I don't know a lot about basketball.
Fields cheer towns. You can grumble or cheer when you hear terms. All right, we're going to kind of recap some of the high school sports that have been and are coming up. So here we go. I say here we go.
There we go.
All right, yeah. St. Cloud Cathedral, a very good game, beats Hermantown for the Class A hockey championship.
Yeah.
Very good game there. And
a sizable upset, right?
Yeah, Edina won too. Big deal. Boys and girls both won for Edina. We're happy for you. Basketball.
Hey, Andy, go back one slide, because now wasn't this the big school class football title game as well? These two schools?
Yes, these two football. Chan got the better of that one, and the Chan team, football now hockey. I don't know what's in the lunch out there at that school if they're feeding them. I want to look into that. But
I don't believe they were on the, they were good, but I don't think they were on the radar really for football or hockey to go this far, this deep, and to get to the title game in either sport.
And I don't think they were one and done either. They're a pretty good young team, so they'll be around for a while.
Wow.
Class A basketball. or for girls is set. Our friends at Mayer Lutheran, Gustin and the girls there. They'll place Goodhue. They got the random draw, which random draw sounds bad. That means you weren't in the top 5. You were either 6, 7, or 8. Now they're playing the number 1 seed. Doesn't mean they were 8. They could have been 6th, but they only seed the top 5. So with that said, so you got Mayer Lutheran there, Southwest Minnesota and Underwood on that side of the bracket. Other side, you got Walker against Mountain Iron, and then Floston against Buffalo Lake on the other side there. 2A, Providence Academy is your 1 seed. And over there, 2 seed. Albany is your 2 seed. Waterville Elysian is a random draw there. So there's those schools. 3A, Minneapolis Roosevelt against the number 1 seed, Benilde St. Margaret. There's a shocker. Stewartville and St. Peter, the 5-4. Teal Grace and De La Salle on the other side, along with Rockridge and Alexandria area. 4A, Hopkins is the 1 seed, Tonka at 2, St. Michael Albertville 3, Maple Grove 4. Only one of the Lakeville schools made it, Lakeville North. They're the 5 seed. College men, there's the Big Ten bracket starting coming up Wednesday here. Gophers get the 9 seed, so they kind of get that first round bye, but they got Michigan State. I don't care if Michigan State's the 16 seed or the 1 seed. You never want to play a Tom Izzo team. So, and if we do get by that, we'll get crushed by Purdue. So it was a good run, boys. And of course, the Iowa Hawkeye girls, Big Ten champs. That was an awesome game. Oh my goodness!
I watched the second half, Andy.
Wow,
that was and the overtime. Very good basketball there.
Yeah, nice, clean, fundamental passes, basketballs, and a block at the end just to kind of – it was beautiful. Fun to watch. Boys or men's ice hockey for Big Ten. Michigan State was the Big Ten champs. We're in the second round. They reseeded in the second round, which I don't like.
Okay.
But that's why I sit here and I'm not on their board. So the Gophers are the 3 seed. They got Michigan. And Michigan State, Ohio State with the upset, so they'll go on there. NCHC, Frozen face-off. The Sioux are the 1 seed, or the Hawks, I guess they are now. So there's their brackets right there. CBS Sports Network, if you get that, or NCHC TV for the first round. Catch those games. There's some good hockey. St. Cloud State at 3. And CCHA, the Bison made it through, or not the Bison, I'm sorry. The Bees made it through the first round. They played Lake Superior State with the upset over the Tommies at the 2 seed. So again, reseeding in the second round. So the Beavs at 1 will go against the Lakers at the 7 seed. And then Michigan Tech and Minnesota State, the 3-4s. And it's single elimination now, not best of 3. But yeah, that Lake Superior State, St. Tommy game in overtime, that game 3, that was a really good one. So Lake Superior State has that momentum behind them. Could be a tough one. Don't fall asleep on them. Wisconsin Badgers win the Quick Trip final face-off tournament 6-3 over Ohio State. So congrats to the gals there. Basketball. Boys basketball, Summit League. They're in their second round there. The Bunnies in St. Thomas are on the top. So the Bunnies are going through. The Bison lost. They were a 5 seed. They lost to St. Thomas. So it's a tough run for the boys there. But we'll get them next year, we say. We'll get them next year. The gal side, Bison are the 2 seed. They go on to face Aura Roberts in the second round. The Bunnies are the 1 seed against South Dakota, the rivals down there. So the girls got these played today. When I made these brackets at 9 this morning, this is how it sat. So we're going off that.
Speaking of recruiting, that South Dakota the last few years, whether it's football or boys basketball or women's,
South Dakota State, yeah.
South Dakota State is unbelievable. The Jackrabbits were the talent they must have coming in there. I don't know if that's a tremendous recruiting effort or what, but they're turning all those programs around.
Yeah, they're not just a football only school or a basketball only school. They're boys basketball, girls basketball, football, volleyball, they're just all over the place. They're doing very well, if not winning them all, or top contenders. So
Yeah.
exciting group got going down there at SDSU. So that's that one. That's my next slide. There we go. Whoop. Yeah, put them on there twice, I think. I think that might be it. That's all I got, Dan. That's my show for me.
Well, what we've got is, the Vikings made a move.
Yes. Lots of moves, but the big move today.
I mean, Cousins made a move, not the Vikings.
Yeah. He was a free agent. Like we've said on social media for the last month, he was going to Atlanta, where his wife is from. So breaking news, he's in Atlanta now for a 4-year deal. Every contract he's signed has always been fully guaranteed. So he's at like $411 million in his career he's made. So he's okay.
Just think of that.
But, Atlanta did make a lot of other nice moves today, too. It's another coaching system he's familiar with. My scare is him and Jefferson were so tight. Will we be able to sign Jefferson this year? Is he going to wait till the draft? And I don't want to say hold us hostage, but wait and sign after the draft, see how it goes. Do we, like we kind of said tongue-in-cheek beforehand, but do we pull a Herschel Walker and trade him to Dallas for a bunch of picks? If we're going to rebuild, let's do it right and just get rid of everybody and tough it out for a couple of years and go from there.
Now Justin Jefferson had said previously that if he's going to wait and decide what he's going to do pending the quarterback situation. Now Cousins is gone. I don't foresee Jefferson coming back, but I think he still has a year left anyway, right? But
yeah, and Russell Wilson signed with the Steelers today.
Oh, he did.
1 year, $1.2 million, because he's still getting $40 million from Denver, so he's okay. So he went there. Some of the other guys are kind of floating around, the quarterback carousel, if you will. Not a lot of big names out there, so we'd kind of have to draft, unless I don't know who'd want to come here with just Jefferson right now, because we did trade some other defensive players. We did sign a lot of good defensive players though today too. I was talking to Jeremy Quass online today, and it's like I kind of mentioned, still not a fan, but I like the moves they made on defense. Very impressive. So I don't know if they go after a young quarterback, pay him big, and go. We'll see how they do.
Interesting. Baseball, Major League has a couple of weeks to go yet, and they will break camp and trim the roster size down. And I think that's it. UFL's coming up at the end of the month.
Diaz of the Mets made his first performance or first appearance back today.
Okay.
Struck out the side.
So he's the reliever that comes in with the big music and everything. They don't do that for spring training, but the trumpets sound
the trumpets.
Edwin Diaz. And so that's why I think what the Target Field has done with Johan Duran is to make that grand entrance. They've used that for him last year with the lights coming down and all this. They're going to try to make that, because Edwin Diaz is the man.
Yes.
He's been unbelievable. So really when it comes to spring football, we're going to cover a little bit of the UFL coming in March 30th. I think they begin. They've announced, the teams. They've announced the coaching staff. They've announced the uniforms, and they play just a 10-game season, no preseason. So that will be over in around July 4th, and then
we are your Carver County home for the UFL.
Yeah, I like to cover that. We've covered in the past, the XFL and the USFL to some extent, and so a lot of podcasts don't cover those kinds of things. But it's still good
sometimes, though.
It's still good. It's still good football. It's if you look at it as a minor leagues, but it's some of these smaller towns that have them. They love it. St. Louis as a big town don't have a football program, so the UFL is what they all do, and they get huge turnouts for the Battle Hall.
Well, it's kind of like NDSU for football up there. That's the game in town.
Yeah. So
everybody's buzzing crazy up there.
So I like it with the smaller towns. There's still some teams that still have some big cities have it, and that's really not the point of it, I guess. But it's kind of like a minor league circuit, I guess. So
arena football making a comeback here too in the local area. So
yeah, arena football. What we're going to try to do, Minnesota has a team this year, the Minnesota Myth, and we're in talks with Ricky Foggy to have him on the show here before the season starts as well. He's the head coach. Former Minnesota Gopher, really good quarterback, played in the CFL, Arena Football League. He's the head coach now for the new Minnesota Myth team. So we're going to be in talk with him, get him on the show here in the next couple of weeks, get his thoughts. And we want to get to a game as well to watch. So Andy, you and I were trying to get to a game, and their home games are basically May and June.
And it's at Target Center?
Target Center. Now,
Nice.
TJ may not know this, but the Arena Bowl this year is hosted at the Target Center.
What?
We're hosting the Championship Arena Bowl.
Championship
Target
game.
Center is going to host the Arena Bowl this year. So get
That'd
your
be
tickets
interesting.
early, TJ.
I would actually go to that.
Yeah,
I
that would be
haven't
pretty-
been to any game for a long time. I need to bring the boys there.
Yeah,
Arena kind of fun.
that's kind of fun
Wow.
stuff. So that's what we'll be covering here in the next couple of weeks as baseball gets going, and we'll get updates from the Twins and the Mets and all these kind of fun things. We're also going to be covering a lot of amateur town ball baseball as well. So
Those are so fun.
Yeah, town ball games are great.
Yeah, I had my first experience with that 2 years ago, and I started going to the Red Devil stuff, and I thought that was just the coolest thing.
yeah, we
Coolest
covered a
thing.
lot of the Red Devils. Red Devils baseball is really good, and the Crow River as a conference. Now, TJ, this will make sense because when it comes to amateur town ball baseball for Class C,
Yeah.
the Crow River is like the Section 2 AA for wrestling. It's a fun every matchup is good. It's some of the best ball players in the state, some of the best teams ranked in the state, right here in our own backyard. So it's
I
fun.
live like 2 blocks away from our field. I just walk there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's fun. We'll be covering a lot of that coming up as well. But that's all I've got. Andy, anything for you?
That is it. That is it.
All right,
Thank
once
you to TJ and the boys for being on.
Yeah, thanks,
I
TJ.
appreciate it. Yep. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate it. And
All right,
we'll see you next
bye-bye.
week, Andy.
Yep.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
Awesome.